Hey guys, this is Blake here. Just some information on what's going on the next few weeks. This Wednesday I'll be doing a new Guidelines to Not Sucking at Video Reviewing episode. It'll be about scripting. I already have it written, shot, and partially edited, so it'll definitely be up then unless my computer crashes, which I hope I really didn't just jinx myself there. After that, I plan on doing my re-review of The Angry Video Game Nerd, and then I don't remember who's after that. Cool Duder, maybe. Just so you guys know, because I got in some flack by one of the guys I plan on reviewing this season. It'll take me a while to get to everybody. Remember that I don't get paid for this. I work not quite full-time, but pretty close to it. And I have other stuff I want to do besides video reviews. So, yeah, everything is really behind. These videos tend to take a lot more time than I actually always plan them. I always think I can get it done in one day. I've yet to do that in the last month. So yeah, remember, if you're waiting, more than likely somebody else who wants to be reviewed is waiting too. So get over it. At one point, I was planning on saying, if you pay me a certain amount, I'll go ahead and bump you to the top of the list. But that just seems too greedy. I couldn't deal with that. So that's it about critiquing the critics. For Kick-Ass of Awesome episodes, I'm actually planning on doing those, or I'm going to try to do them as like more official reviews. There's going to be scripting, voiceovers, editing, but they're not going to be like full-fledged reviews. I just want them to be like a minute or two long, or really to the point, where I just briefly list what I like and dislike about the films, and of course the fight choreography, how good that is. Before that, though, I actually have because I'm really behind on these episodes, so I decided all the episodes that I'm behind on, I'm just going to cover in one single video. Those movies are 13 Assassins, Little Big Soldier, True Legend, Blood of the Ninja, which has no ninja, and Murantau, I believe it's called. I have always had difficulty pronouncing those names. But, so I'll be talking about those in a video I'll post either tomorrow or the next day. Probably tomorrow, though. But yeah, I like to make those more official. If you agree, just let me know. If you don't, go ahead and list it. I might just try it just to see if it works at all. But also, for some of the newer ones, I'm probably going to be putting on Blip. Because for some reason, Blip's much more lenient when it comes to copyright. And I don't want to get in trouble just for one of the Kick-Ass of Awesome episodes of all the things. Like, for example, Little Big Soldier and 13 Assassins are much newer movies, so more than likely those will get taken down ultimately by YouTube, whereas with Blip it seems like either it won't happen or it'll be a lot longer before it does happen, and that'll just be much easier that way. The final thing I want to talk about is I'm planning on getting a new website. I'm right now using FreeWebs, and it's becoming too much of a hassle. The problem with it is I don't understand HTML at all. Initially, I was just using the basic FreeWebs templates, and in fact, if you actually go through my written reviews, some of the reviews, or many of the reviews, will be in the older style FreeWebs template, whereas the others are HTML based. But eventually, one of my online friends, so the unreliable kind, encouraged me to change it to HTML, and they said they'd do it themselves, so they changed it, and that's how it is now. But then they vanished and sort of left me to my own devices, and I'm just not good when it comes to web design or any of that kind of stuff. So if you notice, if you go to the horror section of my written reviews, you'll see some of the reviews are actually missing. Like right now, the ones I saw that I can't seem to get back up there are Zombie Holocaust and Zombieland. And this happened before, and it almost took away half of my reviews. So I'm tired of FreeWebs. The whole HTML thing is a mess on my website. I've had multiple complaints about that. So I just want to get something new. I also want to make this website into sort of my home base for everything. My written reviews, my Kick-Ass of Awesome episodes, critiquing the critics, guidelines, everything I want to be on this website. Whereas right now, my website's really just about my written reviews, and I just have one link to my YouTube page, and that's really it for my YouTube videos. So hopefully people will start looking more at the website itself instead of just looking at my channel, and then they could find out everything I'm doing from that. And but I need help. I'm not going to be asking for money or anything. I just, for one, if you're into web design at all, please just PM me with some advice, like what domain to use, what would be a good way to monetize it without asking for donations. I right now use AdSense, and I'm not expecting to make a lot of money. I mean, right now AdSense is pretty much just giving me pennies. I think in the few years I've had the website up, I've made like $36, and I don't expect to make too much more than that. But might as well get something for it. And like I said, I don't want donations, at least right now. I'm trying to avoid making this into a full-time career. I feel that if you accept donations, you have to make video reviewing into more of a full-time career. That's why I'm not criticizing people who do that. The Cinema Snob, the Nostalgia Critic, AVGN, anybody who asks for donations or gets any substantial amount of money usually do just focus on making these videos full-time. I don't have that time, and I don't even really want to be a professional video reviewer. I want to be a scriptwriter, and if I make it into my full-time job, I won't be able to focus on that aspect of my life enough. So if you want to help me with the website, or at least just send me advice, just please PM me, and that's pretty much it on that subject. So anything else? I guess I could talk about some movies I've seen recently. The last one I saw was a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. Just the title I always had difficulty remembering. It's pretty funny. It's no better or worse, I think, than the first two films. I don't even remember the first one that much, but I remember thinking it was pretty funny. I thought the second one was pretty funny too, but all these movies have shown pretty much their funniest parts in the trailers, and that's always a problem. Like, my favorite part in this whole movie is when they're talking to Neil Patrick Harris, and of course he's the coolest aspect of all these movies. If only that was the Neil Patrick Harris who was in the Smurfs movie, I would totally watch that. But they're like, dude, how are you alive? You were shot in Texas for branding a hooker. And he's like, yeah, you guys are going to have to be a little more specific than that. I just think that's such a great line. And they kind of change it in the actual movie, which is kind of a bummer, but it's still pretty funny. And but yeah, I laughed. Just nothing groundbreaking with it. It's one of those movies where if you like the first two, definitely check it out. I also saw The Three Musketeers by Paul Anderson. Now, Paul Anderson gets a lot of crap. A lot of people compare him to Uwe Boll, which I think is really unfair. I think, for one, Uwe Boll, like, even though I think sometimes Uwe Boll does okay, Paul Anderson almost always does okay. And plus, I think he's really talented when it comes to set design and how to shoot these various sets to where they look really epic and awesome. But almost all of his movies have been consistently entertaining. Not good, but I mean, I've never been really angry with him, except when he's producing. That's when he comes out with his worst stuff, when he's producing other people's movies. But I thought Mortal Kombat and maybe Event Horizon were his best movies. But this one I thought was one of his weaker ones, honestly. I thought, even though it looks great, it just, I don't know, there's something bland about it. There's something listless. It has no energy, no drive. I mean, the previews made it look epic. You had airships, ninjas, and all sorts of crazy shit. But here, I don't know, just none of those ideas are really used enough. It's just bland. I also thought he really did a bad job when it came to balancing the screen time between all these characters. Like, I didn't really care for how he used Mia Jovovich, or Mila Jovovich. I don't know how you pronounce her name either. But I like her, but I don't like her in this movie just because she's overused. I mean, it seems like she steals, or she has most of the screen time in like the first half, but then she vanishes throughout most of the movie, so that was really noticeable. I thought Paul Anderson was kind of being indulgent there with her, because since she's his wife. And just all the characters were rather dull. I thought it was really odd that Orlando Bloom probably was the most entertaining person in this movie. I mean, when does that happen? Orlando Bloom is more of a prop than an actor in his movies. Even as Legolas, I mean, all he does is shoot arrows and look cool, and he looks cool doing so. But he isn't really acting in that movie. In this one, he just seems like he's having a fun time, and he's showcasing a personality, which is very rare for an Orlando Bloom performance. He's really hamming it up, and a lot of people didn't like that, but I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Whereas, like, everybody else, I just thought was kind of boring. Even the guys who I really liked, like, what's-his-face from Inglourious Basterds, you know, he's really bland in this movie, and I thought that was a shame. But it's one of those movies where I'd say just wait till DVD, but at the same time, you're going to probably get more enjoyment of it in the theaters than on DVD, because, on the big screen is when the special effects really come through. So if you want, but then again, you probably made your decision already. I also saw Real Steel. It's just an average boxing movie where robots are in it. That's really all I can describe it as. It works at times. It doesn't work at other times. It was sometimes pretty moving, but at the same time, it was just too conventional, too cliched. Like I said, it's just your average boxing movie, but they have robots in it. So that's really it, I think. If you just want to check out my website, it's in the description. Like I said, I'm planning on changing it, so be patient with me when all this stuff kind of comes out slower than anticipated. So I'll see you guys later.